blueprints. By the end of this video, this is more or less what we want to accomplish. So when I hit play, move around, and when I step on this platform, that gate should go down, and I can go inside. Cool. So to do that, we're going to hit Control and Spacebar to open up our file menu here. Here is the blueprint that we're going to create right now. So I'm going to go right-click. I'm going to create a new blueprint class, and the class that I want to choose is an actor. So this is anything that can be placed or spawned in the world. Basically, everything is an actor, and if you're not going to explicitly control it, like you would for a pawn or a character, you just choose an actor. So this will be a gate. All it's going to do is move up and down, so I'm just going to choose an actor. And I'm going to call it BP, capital BP, underscore gate. So for Unreal Engine, the naming convention that we're going to follow in this class is any blueprint, we're going to start with capital BP underscore and then whatever the blueprint is named. So let's open it. And we have an empty blueprint with no code, nothing at all, completely empty. So what we want to do, let's open up the map here, is we want this gate, we want the force field, and we want this little platform right here. So we want three things, and they're all called static meshes. So I'm going to hit add static mesh. So a static mesh is going to be pretty much anything that's in the game is going to be a static mesh. The alternative is a skeletal mesh, so that's going to be able to have bones and move around. So if you wanted to animate something, it would be a skeletal mesh. But if it doesn't move, like a gate or like a wall or a couch or something, that's a static mesh. It doesn't move, it's just static. So I've added it. I'm going to rename it to be gate, capital G. And you notice there's no gate. Well, we need to give it, so we've created a static mesh, but it's empty. It has no value right here. This is where we're going to change what the mesh is. So I'm going to choose none and type in gate frame. Now I can zoom out a little bit, and there's my gate. Hit compile. I'm going to go back to the level. Control space to open up my files, and I'm going to drag my gate out. So I drug the blueprint out, not the static mesh of a gate. So this is our blueprint. So any change I make to this file will show up here, kind of like a prefab in Unity. Okay, so we have a gate. Now we want to add, with gate selected, add another static mesh. And we're going to call this force field. And we're going to give it a static mesh value of, we'll type in gate, and it has gate force field. Compile that, go back into the map, and cool, it shows up. So I'm going to go back to this gate, and I'm going to position and scale this gate so that it fills up the whole gate. Or sorry, the force field so that it fills up the whole gate. So I want to move it down just a little bit. Choose R to change the scale tool. And I'm just gonna, yeah, that's good. So 1.25 for the scale seems pretty good. Move it down maybe to -30. Cool. So the force field is in the mesh for the gate. It's not sticking out. Shouldn't be able to see anything. Cool. Alright, so now we have our gate and our force field. Compile, go back here, and now the force field accurately fills up the entire gate. Lastly, we want to add this little platform and a collision detection around it. So in my gate here, I'm going to choose the default scene route, choose add, another static mesh for the platform. I'm I'm going to call this platform. Yeah, we'll call it platform. I think that's what it's called here. So static mesh, platform, cool. And I want to move that to where I want it to be. So somewhere here-ish is pretty good. That's fine. So somewhere just away from it. So whenever I put a gate down, it'll have a little platform next to it, just like this. And I can hit compile, check it out. And now I have a platform. And whenever I move this gate, it's going to move everything with it. Okay, so it's just like a prefab. Let's see, maybe I want it here. I don't know. That's fine. All right, back in our blueprint. With the platform selected, I want to add a sphere collision. And then I need to, so whenever you add a new component, it's going to default to the 0, 0, 0 zeroed out location, so right in the middle. But since it's a child of the platform, it has wonky locations. So it's basically the opposite of the platform that it's a child of. So if we just set all these to 0, it'll be right smack in the middle of whoever its parent is, in this case, the platform. And I need it to be a bit bigger. So for collision, the sphere collision specifically, you can change the radius. So 32 is a little small. We'll just, if you click right here, or not, sorry, if you just hover right here until the double arrow shows up, you can drag back and forth how big you want it. Maybe 150. Just something to completely cover it. 150 looks exact actually. Cool. We hit compile, go back to the level, and our collision box is there. So I'm going to go back to this gate, and with the collision sphere selected, I'm going to scroll down on details, and we have all of these events. Okay, these are just like the Unity events on collision enter, on trigger enter, that kind of thing. This one is on component begin overlap. So again, with the sphere collision selected, on component begin overlap, so as soon as it starts overlapping with something else with collision, I want to do something. Okay, this will let us add some logic to our sphere. So what do we want to do? Well, we want to go to the viewport here. When I step on this, I want this platform, let's put it back to 0 here, to go down just a little bit, just to show that I'm pressing on it so it kind of shifts down. And then I want the force field to go down, just like this. So to do that, we can drag off of this exec node so that whenever something overlaps with our sphere, and then we can type move component to. This is a super handy node. So all we need to do is tell it what component we want to move, and in this case, let's do the platform first. So I'm just going to drag my platform from right here and connect it to the component. So components, that's anything that's in here. So I can move any one of these things however I want. Now this is a key part. So target relative location. So you might be thinking, well, I can just move it in the negative z because that's down. So let's see what happens. So minus 20z. So when I overlap with the sphere, it should move the platform to relative location 0, 0, negative 20. Let's see what happens. Position my character here. Oh, I have a start. Sweet. Whoa. Okay. So that is not at all what we wanted to have happen. So it's moving its target relative location to 0, 0, negative 20. Let's take a look at our platform. Well, if we type in 0, 0, negative 20, that's right where it did put it. But that's not where we want to put it. Okay, Control Z a couple of times to reset. So we actually want its relative location to be 524 point whatever, 210, and then 0. Now you can just type those numbers in, or you can select your platform, drag off of it, and get relative location. This way, if you make any changes later, you won't have to manually type in anything. So I can get its relative location, and there's a few ways to do this. So here's one. I'll just cover one. I'm going to right-click on this, and I'm going to choose Split Struct Pin. So now I have 3 floats, an X, a Y, and a Z, as opposed to a vector 3, which you remember from Unity is just 3 floats, like a coordinate. So here I have X, Y, Z, and I can do the same for this, split. So I don't want the X to change, and I don't want the Y to change, but I do want the Z to just be -20. And it happened really fast when we stepped on it, so this right here is going to be controlling that. So I'm going to do it over 1. That's 1 second. Come on. There we go. And I always like to do ease out, ease in. So it starts a little bit slower and then speeds up and then slows down. A little bit of a smoother movement, but again, you don't have to. Cool. So now with this, we get our platform. We make sure it stays at the same location on the X and Y axis that it already is, and then we just lower it by 20 on the Z over 1 second. Let's try it. Cool. So now at the same time, we want to move the force field down. Well, it's going to be pretty much exactly the same. And since I want to do both off of this same exec node, so this same execution, I'm going to drag off, and there's a node called sequence. So it'll do one thing, and then it will do another thing. And it happens so fast that it's basically at the same time. Let's organize this a little bit. All right, so first I want it to move the platform, and then I want it to move the force field. So I'm going to move component. And what component do I want to move? Well, the force field. Let's get them. And let's look at its relative location so it doesn't get all wonky. So force field is already at 0, 0, -30. To get it all the way down into the ground, maybe like here-ish, that's -400, so let's just -450. So target relative Z, we can leave the X and Y because it's already at 0. And just the Z can just be, let's say -500. And let's do that over 2 seconds. Ease in, ease out. Now let's check it out. Cool. So now we have a satisfying door opening. You can do the same thing if you want it to go right. Just instead of the Z changing, so we'll change the Z back to -30, which is what it was. Or, sorry, what it is right now, I think. Say -40. And I'll make this -40. This is the lazy way, instead of having to do all this. And then I want it to move along the X axis. So about 700 should do it. Let's make that 0. So 700. And now, when I hit play, it should move over to the right. Cool. So however you want to do it, there's all kinds of ways you can do this. You can apply this to moving platforms. You can apply this to elevators. Just think about it, explore. Move component 2 is a very powerful node. And it's very fun, and you can make really satisfying elements. So that's what I want y'all to play with today.